Chapter 51. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Aquarina's journey. Aquarina POV. I've recently hit 4 years of age. Sometimes mommy and daddy say I'm already a big girl. I think it's because they told me my mind developed quickly. Usually, kids my age don't think as much as I do. Then again, I'm too shy to say what I think. But I would really like to travel around the world and meet tons of new people and places though. I always have that thought in mind. And Sylphie. I miss her. She hasn't come in a month. She's always here for 2 weeks each month. I miss her. It kind of makes me sad that she's not here. To the point that I want to cry sometimes. I miss her so much. Sylphie is my beloved sister. She always plays with me, and we're best friends. However, she hasn't been able to come here since winter started. It suddenly began to get colder and there are also storms. Mommy and Daddy told me that the bird they travel on can't travel across thunderstorms, so they can't come here for now. Hopefully, they can get here really soon. I really miss them. Well, I don't miss Uncle Alan or Auntie Phelan as much as Sylph. I really miss Sylphie the most. I've gotten too used to being with her. She's very important to me. She always cheers me up. To be honest, it's hard for me to socialize and be as cheerful as she is, but she always helps me get through my dummy self. Plus, she tightly holds my hand and leads me to places. And we have fun together. It's fun to be with Sylph. I don't know what this might be, but maybe I'm developing something else for her. But I think I'll never tell her this. I'm too embarrassed. Sometimes, I wonder to myself. What does she like? She always tells me that she likes being with me and playing around, practicing magic, sleeping, and eating yummy food. If so, I guess we're the same there. Though I'm pretty sure I don't like practicing magic. Magic is scary, it's too unstable. At times, it gets messy. At other times, it explodes. The other day I wanted to practice the boiling water spell, and I ended up burning my hands. But I'm glad Sylph was there. She covered me with the light of her spirit, Naturia. After that, the pain disappeared bit by bit, and soon, the burn went away. When I asked her what spell she used, she told me she used a nature-type spell named Verdant Light. Yua. Sylph is so talented at magic. I wish I could be like her. But I'm pretty sure I'm bad at magic. Sure, I do my best, but the only things I can conjure are a few spells compared to hers. But it's not like I'm jealous of her. She's pretty strong and she's a hard worker. I remember seeing her exercising every day. She pushes her body to the limit and trains very hard on top of that. Plus, she constantly uses mana to make it stronger. I couldn't possibly do all of that. I end up tired and I end up resting. I'm weak and small. Compared to the rest of the Amazon, I'm said to be an anomaly because my body didn't develop great stamina. Only after eating that dragon meat Sylph's mommy brought did my stamina increase. It was yummy, and it made me strong. But compared to Sylph, she's really a very hard worker. I admire her lots and lots. I can't help but always see her as the best person there is. And she's so young. I can't imagine how strong she'll end up as she grows older. Will she be stronger than any hero? I want to stay by her side. Mommy and Daddy always tells me the world is a dangerous place. So, I have to be stronger to survive. They told me that if I want to be by the side of a girl as strong as Sylph, I have to grow strong myself. Then again, Sylphie always tells me I don't have to push myself and that she'll always protect me. But I don't want her to protect me all the time. So, even though using magic is scary, I keep practicing. Also, mommy and daddy always congratulate me when I learn a new spell. Hee hee, I love mommy and daddy. They always hug me and pet me. I think Sylph is almost at the same position as them in my heart. Maybe a little bit higher. I don't know. Sometimes I begin wondering what love is. And then I see mommy and daddy loving each other. Hugging and kissing. I'm too young to do any of that, they usually tell me. But I wish I could hug Sylph more, maybe kiss her cheek. Well, she lets me kiss her once in the cheek, and she sometimes kisses my forehead after I do something good. But each time she does that, my mind feels all fuzzy and I feel like I'm going to pass out. Phwee. I get all red and I feel like it's hard to breathe after. My heart would beat so fast because of that. Sylphie is very important to me. That's why I miss her so much. I wonder how she's doing. Recently, I told mommy and daddy about something. I ended up being visited by creepy people in my sleep. At first, I was very scared, but then they introduced themselves as gods. Gods from the religion that people sometimes pray to. At first, I didn't know what to do. I felt scared, and I even cried because of it. But 3 cute mermaids suddenly hugged me and calmed me down. They said everything was going to be okay, and that they weren't bad people. They had cute smiles and were very playful. So I ended up believing them. After that, I was led to a place, where I met someone named Oceanus. He was a very intimidating man. He was very old. With a big beard. But he was gentle like a grandpa. Plus, he let me sit on his big lap. He was gigantic. He told me I was going to be the hero of ocean shores, or something. And then gave me a mission I didn't really understand. Something about saving the world. Like mommy and daddy did. That sounds fun. Maybe I can finally explore the world. However, when I told this to my parents, they looked worried. Why? Isn't that a good thing? Sylphie. I miss you. Chapter 52. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Papa. Teach me swordsmanship. The morning after the dream with the gods, I woke up feeling stronger. My body was flowing with some kind of divine power around me. But after I got used to it and meditated a bit with the flowing energy around me, this sparkly aura receded. After that, I walked outside my room. My parents greeted me as usual, with their loving hugs and kisses. Sylphie, good morning. How are you do? Ha. Hi. What? For some reason, the two were looking at me with great shock. Sylph, did you just get a divine protection? My mother asked. I did. I had a dream last night. It included creepy gods and Thea telling me that I was a heroine now. I replied in all honesty. What? Father could not help but exclaim. So. It actually happened, huh? It really happened as we were fearing, Mother muttered soon after. The gods. Did they really have to give it to her at such a young age? We got our titles at around 15, well, you, of course, got it at an even higher age. But Sylph is just 4, Father said sometime later. From what I could sense, he was furious. It seems the gods are getting desperate. Has the world been doing something lately? I can't really tell. I would have to travel back to my homeland and interact with the Yggdrasil sprout to see if the world is planning something, Mother said, sighing soon after. Perhaps they already know of it. The Demon King's remnants might be trying to distract us from what it's planning. Perhaps another Demon King. Father pondered. So soon. Remember how long it has been since we defeated the Demon King. That was only less than 20 years ago, Mother could not help but say, her tone worried. I know. This is bad. Feeling hopeless, father let out a sigh. Of course, as they conversed with one another, I was just standing there, looking at them. Ah. Thankfully, the two quickly noticed that I was still there and went back to their usual selves. Sylphie. I guess. We can't really do anything about it. It's done. Right? Father asked with a sigh. Yeah. I suppose this only means that we have to be extra careful and train you, Mother added. Train me. Finally. I asked, a bit expectant. Well, I've been teaching you the basics of magic already, Mother replied. Right, but that's just the basics of the basics, I said in response. Ha ha ha. Right. I guess there's no turning back now. Sylph, let me teach you sword fighting and martial arts. Aura as well. You're good with the fire element, right? Let Papa teach you the way of flames, the strongest element there is, Father told me with a smile, his tone reassuring me somehow. Strongest element. Everyone knows holy light is the strongest element, Mother countered while crossing her arms in response. Geez, you're starting this discussion again. It's obvious that fire is more offensive, it can easily burn things, destroy them, explode, combust. It's obviously way deadlier than holy light. Well, sure, holy light can burn, but it isn't as effective and powerful as fire, Father retorted. Holy light is incredibly fast. It's as fast as light, you know. Fire may be good, but light is deadlier since it's faster. Plus, unlike fire, which only has a scant amount of healing and defensive spells, holy light can be both offensive, defensive, supportive, and regenerative all at the same time. Therefore, it is the strongest, Mother said in response. It seems like she's not taking no for an answer. And that's exactly why fire is the strongest. Holy light is considered an element that's a jack of all trades. On the other hand, fire specializes in damage, splendidly so, if I might add. It cannot be easily surpassed by most elements in that regard. Of course, Father wasn't also taking no for an answer. Geez. You're very stubborn today. Mother could not help but let out a sigh after that. Sita, can you two cut it out? You look like kids. I said with a sigh. The two realized a kid like me was calling them kids, so they quickly decided to forget what they were talking about. However, a new discussion quickly emerged. So, Sylphie. Let's begin your sword training, martial arts training, and aura training, Father suggested. Alan, she's a kid. You can't teach her how to use a sword so young. She'll cut herself. Plus, you can't possibly make her exercise with such a tiny body, right? She'll easily end up with a wound. On top of that, you're also a brute, so you might end up hurting her without realizing. Mother quickly brought up arguments while waving her head and crossing her arms. Her elven nature was very prideful and domineering, but of course, my father wouldn't give up that easily. 4 years is the best age to start sword training. My father used to be a mercenary and... I see. You're going to do that again. Having a father that forces a 3-year-old kid to swing a sword for 15 hours a day is not normal. Your father was insane. That's why they called him the Mad Wolf, Mother chided. Look. My father might have been little wild, a bit wrathful, and perhaps quite irresponsible, but never ever call him insane, Father replied, feeling a bit wronged. Sure, whatever. But I won't let you make her do what you want. Sylphie is still too young, plus she's a half-elf. She doesn't have the constitution of a pure human, so her strength doesn't develop that quickly. We elves are more delicate and swifter, more dexterous and also more graceful in our movements. We are not brutes. Sylphie will become a good magician and perhaps a superb archer in the future. In fact, I can already see it on her, Mother declared. Iya. I don't want to be an archer. I want to be a swordsman. I proclaimed. What, Sylphie. My mother cried as if I had stabbed her in the back. He he he. That's my little girl. See. She wants to do it, father said in response, suddenly lifting me up high into the sky before beginning to laugh happily. You make your father so proud. I will instill upon you all the things I've learned, he said soon after. I want to be a strong swordsman like Papa. Also, who's the mad wolf? I asked. That's your old grandpa. I haven't seen the old man in over 5 years now, actually, father told me. Can I meet him? I asked excitedly. Maybe one day. Never. He's too much of a brute. I don't even understand why you like your father so much after being so harsh to you throughout your childhood. I'm certain he'll only be a bad influence for Sylphie, mother could not help but retort. Ugh. Why is mother extra stubborn today? Chapter 53. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Time to take magic classes with mama. For some reason, my mother is being too stubborn over the whole swordsman thing. Well, what she doesn't know is that I've already trained with the sword inside my soul scape, but I guess she thinks a little girl can't wield a weapon. Despite knowing I have more strength than the average person after eating dragon meat, as well as bathing in its blood, I have to tell her and show her that I'm pretty good at wielding a blade. Mommy, trust me. I want to be a swordsman. I will also train magic with you. Thea blessed me. And Aeolus too. Maybe I can also use light magic like you now, I told her. My mother stopped discussing their current topic with my father as she looked me with her beautiful blonde eyebrows raised. Is that so? Well. Okay. Fine. Sigh. I guess we can awaken a new element inside you. But I also know the general magic of all elements, I just specialize in holy light. In other words, I can also teach you nature spells. I believe you've learned some yourself, right? I remember you used a healing spell on Aquarina, mother told me. Oh yeah. When she burned her hands with hot water. To be honest, I've never actually used a spell like that, but Naturia helped me conjure something like that when I needed it, I said in response. Indeed. Some time ago, Aquarina and I were practicing new spells, with her conjuring the boiling water spell as she wanted to make her bullets deadlier by making the water hot. Unfortunately, this ended up backfiring as she made a mistake, with the boiling water falling on her little hands. She began to cry in pain because of that. Hearing her cry, I became somewhat desperate to try to find a way to heal her pain, so Naturia suddenly utilized my mana and helped me conjure a nature element healing spell. So far, I've never gone out of my comfort zone, with agriculture being the only nature element spell I know, but Naturia ended up helping me conjure the spell, which I called Verdant Light, a low-tier healing spell. From what I sensed back then, it could relieve pain and heal minor wounds such as burns. Though, I think it was only effective because the burns were fresh. If the burns weren't treated for longer, she would have gotten an ugly scar there. Naturia is a pretty useful spirit. Using her help, you can conjure new nature-attribute spells, so we'll delve into that, as well as learning light magic at the same time, mother said while nodding confidently. Finally. My true magic and swordsmanship classes are beginning. Your father can teach you more fire-attribute spells I suppose, but he's such a brute that I fear that he might end up burning you. So, I'll stay close by when you two start practicing, she added soon after. Stop calling me a brute. I am a responsible father. As if I'd let my little girl be burned, my father replied as he crossed his arms. I want to trust you, so we'll see about that, mother said with a hint of doubt in her tone. Can you two stop bickering? I asked, sighing once more. The two looked at me when they heard that and apologized. Sorry, we get a bit pumped up when it comes to this, father told me. It's not like we hate each other, Sylphie. Don't worry, mother reassured. I see. Well, I really hope so. I don't want any unnecessary family drama if that's possible. So, when are we going to start? I wondered. Well, how about today? We can do classes on swordsmanship tomorrow. You'll have classes on magic today, Mother quickly said. What? But I wanted to teach her first. Father could not help but feel a bit wronged. It's already decided. You should have spoken up earlier, Mother told him. Ugh, fine. Since it seemed like there was no way around it, Father could not help but let out a sigh. So today, after breakfast, Mother brought me once more to a room in our house where she taught me about the innate magic circle of magicians. This little room had a few magical tools here and there, and a window outside that let me see the growing Yggdra from afar. There was a small desk and a chair in the room for me, although it was still hard to sit down on big chairs since my little legs end up hanging by the edge. Ugh, did I think my legs are cramping up. Sigh. It ain't easy being so little. Very well. Let's start with the very basics, dear. You're very lucky to have me here. Your mother is said to be an amazing magical prodigy, after all. Even with the elements I seemingly had no affinity with, I was able to conjure their spells after some practice. Of course, they'll never be as strong as my specialization, plus I can only go as far as 7th circle magic for other elements aside from holy light. But I'm sure that should be enough for you, dearie, Mother said. My mother really thinks highly of herself. But oh well, you can't expect her to not be prideful. She was a saint that saved the world from the Demon King and all that. She must have worked hard for what she got even with her talents and powers as a saint/hero. I am all ears. I said soon after. All right then. Before anything else, let's begin with the very basics of magic, and what magic truly is. My daughter, what do you think magic is? Tell me what you think of it, she said. What a weird question. What magic is? If I were to be asked this question, I never thought I would have an answer at the ready. Now that I think about it, I can't easily piece the words to describe it despite how I've seen this power as something common. My previous life also had it, and what they said there was that magic was an expression of nature, the very essence of the elements of the world that permeates all of creation. But in this world? Well, I haven't gotten any answer from anyone. This world seems to have even more powerful magic users compared to my previous life. Well, since I don't have anything else. Let's go with that, then. Magic is an expression of nature, the very essence of the elements of the world that permeates all of creation, I told her. Dot. Dot. Ha. Did I say something wrong? My mother ended up staring at me in surprise. That's an incredible answer. I didn't expect that from you. You're right. Well, partially, Mother said in response. Chapter 54. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. My mother is an old lady. What is magic? Well, I gave my mother an answer I learned in my previous life. Then again, I do wonder what it could truly be in here. Maybe the beliefs of my world don't apply here, and that would be understandable. Different world, different logic, right? But then, she told me it was partially correct. So, what's the full answer? I wondered. Well, not even I have been able to completely grasp how it works. After all these years of studying it, Mother replied, letting out a light sigh soon after. Ha. How old are you, Mom? I do remember my father telling me she was older than him. Plus, I remember that my father's fox, that one familiar named Nico, said she was an old hag. I think this fox was against their relationship due to how young my father was compared to her. But my mother looks so young. That must be an exaggeration, right? I do know elves in this world live very long lives, way longer than humans live, but still. Well, I'm considered rather young in my family. I'm the youngest child between all my other 7 siblings. If I remember correctly, I am quite old. Over 100 years old at the very least. I dislike revealing my true age. Mother answered my question, dropping a massive bomb on me at that moment. What? I couldn't help but spit a bit of foam out of my mouth from pure shock. To think she really is an old lady. Should I call her grandma now? No, that would be quite disrespectful. I wish I could know her true age, but I suppose she doesn't really want to reveal it. Perhaps it is an elven thing and I don't want to force her, though I am sure she's way older than 100 years old then. If I ever learn her true age I might be shocked and surprised once more. I have to prepare for that. Elves live approximately for 5,000 years, but there are some elders in our family, especially my grand-grandfather, who have lived for longer than that figure. The closer we get to nature and magic, the longer our lifespan becomes, Mother quickly explained. I see. Of course, half-elves are no exception. You'll probably have as long of a lifespan as me. Mother chuckled. Oh, I don't know what I'll even think about when I get that old. In the first place, would I even reach the age of 5,000? Of course, this topic isn't that important for now. Then again, you must not think that because your life is long that you have to take things for granted. Life is dangerous. We elves know this. Even if we can live for a long time, we can have our lives taken away from us if we become careless. A dangerous world teeming with monsters. Not even humans live their full life expectancy due to all the dangers sprawling about. Because of that, you must be careful and grow stronger, she reminded me. I see. I get it now, Mother. I said in response. Now, let's get back to our original topic. Magic is indeed an essence of nature and exists in all the elements that make up the world. However, it does not only encompass the world. I learned this from an ancient spacetime magician I met in my lifetime. She was able to see through the sky itself and even beyond that. Magic is not only part of our world, but far beyond that, countless other worlds, the outer universe, as she termed it. Mother started to teach me what magic truly was. So, all of creation and existence. I asked for clarification. Pretty much. It is considered the very fabric of all. Or well, those would be the elements, while magic is our key to using these elements that we would normally not be able to properly utilize. You see, it's very rare for prodigies like you to be born. Usually, people cannot develop magic naturally and require intense training and effort to be able to wield the elements. And this is why. Mother suddenly waved her hand as a magic circle emerged in her hand. Fireball. Flash. A small fireball emerged, floating above her delicate hands. The magic circle shaped itself to her words as runes danced to her mana. We use mana as the fuel of our runes, while runes and magic circles are the actual thing that brings forth the phenomena of magic. We've constructed runes long ago so we could express our words as magic. Through words, we can manipulate the elements of the world. Cancel. Flash. And then, the fireball suddenly dissipated into nothingness. And like this, we cancel these magical phenomena, Mother said. Oh. I can kind of understand it. Even my Ember skill uses magic runes, but I can't see them because they're contained within the system itself. She did tell she was a construct of billions of divine runes, which are probably advanced forms of magic runes made by gods. So, in essence, the system. She's just an incredibly large magic circle. It seems runes are the foundation of our method to utilize magic and shape it in all kinds of forms. It's our expression of the natural elements that encompass our universe. I see. Now I get it. You're a prodigy because you're like a spirit, Sylphie. You're able to directly manipulate an element from the very world itself without the need for runes or magic. Then again, the innate magic circle that we magicians create also aids us in this. The more runes we add into it, the faster and shorter spells could be conjured, until we're also capable of conjuring them without the need for chance or magic circles. However, that's only because the magic circle itself is just inside our souls. But you're able to conjure magic without any of this even before getting your innate magic circle. Such talents are 1 in a billion, if not even more, Mother told me. Like a spirit. I pondered. Indeed. Why do you think that spirits, when they become our familiars, can enhance our ability to conjure magic and support us so greatly? Even a young spirit such as yours can already help you greatly. This is because they're connected with the world's nature and all its elements. They're living expressions of the elements, they're the purest form of them, beings made completely out of elemental mana, Mother explained. Oh. Naturia is like that? I asked. Of course. She's an expression of the purest form of nature. Attribute mana. After all, she was born from Yggdra. She can help you conjure magic with ease because she gives you shortcuts to reach the purpose you want magic to shape itself as. When Aquarina's incident happened, you strongly desired to heal her, so Naturia helped you shape your own magic into the needed spell, Mother replied. I see. So that's how spirits work. This world is truly filled with wonderful things. Hearing more and more of this only makes me more fascinated with everything this world has to offer. Chapter 55. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The different types of magicians in the world. 1/After that, Mother taught me what magic truly was in the world, also explaining to me what spirits were. Apparently, spirits are made out entirely out of elemental mana, born in areas with large quantities of that certain element. They're part of nature and represent it. Well, that was simple to understand. I guess that's why they're able to use magic with so much ease. To think they can easily control the nature of their own existence as naturally as we breathe. So that's why when I required something to heal Aquarina back then, Naturia helped with the utmost ease to generate a spell, despite me not ever using actual spells. It finally makes sense. After all, what my parents believe to be spells are just the usage of my system skills. Even the fire. Attribute spells are just the combination of hundreds of embers which I control using mana usage and fuel using my endless mana, an incredibly inefficient way to conjure magic that only works for me. Agriculture could be said to be in the same boat. I can show its usage and make it seem as if it were several spells at once, but in actuality, it's just a single skill that can do many things thanks to my endless mana. Of course, I can't just tell this to my parents. Sigh. It's gonna be hard to learn spells outside my comfort zone. I don't have a fire spirit yet. Plus that annoying idiot Ignatius still doesn't budge. Well, at the very least, I can count on Naturia for nature element. I like how you got a spirit to aid you in these early stages, but I want you to practice spells without her aid today, Sylphie, Mother said all of a sudden. Gah. Just when I felt relieved that Naturia could help me, my mother won't let me use her help. If you always rely on the power of a spirit to help you conjure magic, you'll become dependent on it and you won't be able to develop your true magical abilities, the innate power you have as a sorcerer. She told me soon after. Sorcerer? I asked. We were just about to talk about that. Pay attention, sweetheart. Mages have all sorts of classes. Not all of us fall into the category of magicians and that would be the end of it. All of us have many classifications, actually. For example, your father is actually a spellblade, while I am a priestess. You're a sorcerer, Mother started to explain. What's the difference in all of this? I asked. Spellblades are magicians that excel at combining their magic with the usage of weapons, with swords being used most of the time. Your father isn't really that good at using magic alone, or well, he didn't used to be that good. But now that he has grown so strong, he can be pretty strong with magic alone. Yeah. Anyways, back then, all of his magic spells were around combining them with his swordsmanship. Therefore, He's a spellblade, magicians that channel their magic into weapons to fight, Mother replied. Bua. In other words, my father sucked at conventional magic but then decided somewhere down the road to merge it with swords, and discovered his true talent through that. Interesting. Of course, spellblades rely a lot on their weapons in their earlier stages. In fact, your father was gifted a mithril sword by my family when we first met, so he was able to easily channel his magic into it. Mithril is a magical metal that has the ability to easily channel mana of any element. They're the ideal metal for magic staves, magical accessories, as well as weapons for spellblades, Mother said, going off on a slight tangent. I see. Was father overpowered from the beginning? Well, since she went on a tangent, then might as well. Oh, no. He was pretty bad at magic. He couldn't even properly aim with a fireball back then. I had to teach him a lot of magic theory and mana control. However, he had a talent at using swords due to his father's teachings, plus he had an innate talent of channeling mana into the blade and unleash powerful spells using it. Surprisingly, that was his forte, Mother answered. So that's how it is. Well, now Papa can even summon beings out of nowhere using creation magic, so he got past that point already, right? I asked. Yes, but it took him a while. Plus, his familiars helped him a lot in that aspect. Well, he never had the knack for magic, so he had to put extra effort into it, Mother told me. I see. Now, let's continue. Your father is an excellent example of a spellblade. On the other hand, I'm a priestess. We priests are magicians that channel the power of gods to fight, similar to warlocks, but in the holy path. Since I was a child, I was able to channel the power of the gods that blessed me to unleash powerful and devastating magic. The stronger my faith was, the stronger my magic would become. However, I also used to be a witch, a proficient spellcaster that utilized curse-based spells, and also alchemy if I remember correctly, Mother continued where she left off. Which I'm pretty sure witches in my previous life weren't regarded that well. Yeah, it was my strong asset. Back then, I was a rare witch that used holy light magic. Witches are often not regarded that well in some places, since they're believed to bring misfortune and curse people without reason, but of course, that's all a lie. Curse casting is an excellent way of using magic, as well as a precise and easy shortcut to conjure more advanced spells, Mother said. I see. But then, I awakened as a priestess and concentrated more on that afterwards. And with that, we come to the topic of a sorcerer. Sylphie, do you have any idea what a sorcerer is? Mother asked. No. Well, a sorcerer is a person naturally gifted with magic. They can manipulate the elements without conjuring spells, nor magic circles, nor runes. Even without having an innate magic circle, they're still capable of using high-level spells like nothing. They're gifted with mana and are often called the children of mana. There are very few of them all around this world, and I can count them on the fingers of my hands, Mother started to explain as I stared at her in shock. There are less than 10. I asked in disbelief. Indeed, and you're part of that group now, Mother said in response. Chapter 56. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The different types of magicians in the world apparently, I'm not just a run-of-the-mill magician, but a special one named sorcerer. They're like the human version of spirits, but perhaps even better than spirits in some way. According to Mother's words, sorcerers can channel mana into their bodies without issues and can conjure all sorts of spells with ease. Damn. If that's the case, then I think I might be a fake sorcerer. After all, I can only do all of this thanks to the glitched system. I feel a bit bad now for all those real sorcerers who were innately born with the talent. I'm literally a cheater in their group, the black sheep among the sorcerers. Ugh. Oh well, that's that. Since I'm not sure others even know how I conjure magic, might as well pretend I am one. I don't think anyone would ever understand what a system is even if I explain it. Of course, I better carry this secret power to the tomb. In a way, I guess it could be said that I have a familiar with godlike powers, the system, from the start, and that's why I conjure magic like a sorcerer. But even then, explaining I have endless mana won't get me anywhere. I doubt anyone will ever believe me. On top of that, I haven't tested if my endless health is the same as my endless mana. It might not work as properly or as I think it would. The only way to try it would be to stab myself in the stomach and bleed to death, but not actually bleed to death. But of course, I can't just go and do that, right? I've already gotten wounds sometimes, scratches even. In fact, I got a big one on my ankle when I tripped over a rock while running around the house. I didn't seem to regenerate that quickly, although the dragon powers I got by eating the meat and bathing in its blood made me pretty tough. With that said, the bleeding stopped after a few minutes, but the complete healing didn't happen, with my mother healing such wounds. It's still a mystery if my endless health acted there or not, but to find out more about this power, unlike mana, I would need to submit my body to all sorts of torture. Like seeing if I would still be alive after cutting my head off or if I'm still fine after cutting off a limb, waiting for several days. To see if this power can also help me regrow limbs, or if I can survive without my internal organs. I would have to do all sorts of experiments that a part of my mind, the wicked one, desires to experiment with, but the other part of my mind, the new one, doesn't want it done on a little 4-year-old girl. But for the most part, we better just not try anything like this for now. And so, I decided to simply shrug off this thought, focusing my attention on Mother once more. As I said, you're a sorcerer, a powerful magician with innate magical capabilities. It could be said that you're no different than a spirit. In fact, even better, as spirits are stuck with a single element while you have the power to master all elements with your S.grade talent and elemental innate magic circle. Sylphie.Chan, you're incredibly talented, Mother reminded me once more. Is that so? Ugh, Mother. I'm so sorry. I'm actually cheating. I'm actually not that talented without the system. Even if it's glitched, it's still super amazing for some reason. Guilt ate at me once more after hearing Mother's words of praise, but this only forged a new resolve inside my heart, the resolve that I must learn magic and spells outside the system, so I can meet my beloved Mother's expectations. There are more classes aside from those three, such as the wizards, who learn magic the hard way over several years, mastering the understanding of magic runes, as well as mastering the usage of such magical tools to utilize magic. Wizards are often not innately talented with magic, but they make up for it with a lot of effort. Most heroes weren't wizards since, for a wizard to be strong, they would have to be old and would have studied magic for a very long time, Mother said. I see. So those are the ones that specialize in the study of magic runes, magic circles, and magic tools? I asked, trying to simplify it. Yes. They're also the most common type of magicians as well. There are many wizard schools across the world, actually. Perhaps you might attend one if you want to in the future. I remember there's a very good one back home where I used to work as a teacher, Mother said in response. Also, by home, I'm pretty sure she meant her homeland. Oh. Well, aside from wizards, there are two other classes which are quite well known for their dark magic arts. Those two classes would be the necromancers and warlocks. Necromancers utilize death magic and magic tools, alongside alchemy and a great deal of wizardry mixed in to raise undead and manipulate death. They're not as rare as sorcerers, but they're still very rare nevertheless. Then again, I've met a few dozen of them throughout my life. They're so secretive about their ways. Then again, most people don't take to their practices kindly, especially when they rob graves, she said. Rob? They rob graves? I asked. Yeah. Anyways, there's also the warlocks. Unlike necromancers, where you need some talent, warlocks. Well, anyone can be a warlock. Most wizards who desire more immediate power become warlocks. Actually, Mother continued. What do warlocks do differently from wizards? Naturally, I asked another question on the current topic. Warlocks interact with dark magic and utilize it to summon beings from other planes of existence. These beings are not gods, necessarily, but simply put, other beings. Sometimes these beings are friendly, and other times, they're deadly and bloodthirsty. They make pacts with them, but not the same ones you make with a familiar. If I were to be more specific, it's more like offering to be a slave of these beings and their vessels in exchange for a minuscule share of their power and knowledge. Well, in my opinion, it's not really that worth it. But then again, things like that are not uncommon, Mother replied. Ha! That sounds dangerous. Aren't they risking their lives? I asked. Indeed. Most of the time, warlocks die because their own patrons eat their souls, Mother explained. Ah. That's certainly not good. I muttered, feeling a chill creep up my back in response. Chapter 57. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Words are magic. As we moved on to other topics, over half of today's classes ended up being about basic knowledge that all magicians should have. I suppose Mother wanted to set a foundation for everything for me, so I wouldn't have a hard time in the future understanding how magicians worked and the multiple classifications that existed in the world. There are other classes, such as druids, shamans, and more. But of course, I can always save them for another day. Although there are even more classifications than that, even with the limited number of elements there are in the world, each person can learn and use their own unique spell combinations, making every single magician unique and different from one another, Mother told me. Is that so? But isn't there like a general group of elemental spells everyone learns? I asked. Well, yes, but aside from that, magicians are encouraged to make their own creations and spells. After all, one of the most important elements of magic aside from diligence and study is creativity. A person without creativity will never get too far in magic, Mother said in response. Oh. So, at the end of the day, despite there being a lot of basic spells on each tier, the strength of a magician still came from what they could create themselves. Well, I suppose that makes sense. It's like making your own weapon or your own weapon techniques, but in spell form. In my previous life, I sucked at magic. The only magic I could use was the weakest one that only served a basic function, such as the lockpick spell. But in this life, I finally have the opportunity to develop magic in all the directions I could have ever wanted. I still remember how much I envied those talented mages in my previous life. To think I would become someone so talented myself. Now then. We're finally done with the boring stuff, so let's continue with a bit of practice before lunch. Alright, dearie. Let's begin with the basics of nature. Attribute magic. Do you know what nature attribute magic is? Mother asked all of a sudden. Magic that deals with plant life. I asked. Well, yes, but actually, it encompasses even more than that. You see, nature magic is what we call a composite element. It comes from the combination of earth and life magic, therefore, someone that awakens nature magic can also conjure both life and earth magic as well since it comes naturally to them. Mother nodded in response before explaining what it really was. Wait, what? Indeed. You see, nature magic is the combination of both earth and life magic, which it clearly shows through its spells. It's an amazing combination of both, she said with enthusiasm. If I were to give an example, your ability to enhance soil and make plants grow bigger is part of earth magic while also being part of life magic. Also, the ability to control or order plants is life magic, which deals with the manipulation of life signals inside a living being. Plus, the ability you used to heal Aquarina, that one spell you named Verdant Light, well, that's life magic, widely known for being the best attribute at healing spells, she continued, explaining a bit more. Wow! So Naturia is an even stronger spirit than I thought because she's a composite element spirit. I asked for clarification. Why yes. It's actually rare to find composite element spirits. In forests, you either find life or earth spirits the most, but Naturia is a combination of both, a wondrously rare specimen, Mother could not help but say. Phew. And I thought my nature magic wasn't much aside from enchanting plants. Does this mean I can also learn life and earth magic with ease? The sole possibility of having great talent for such amazing attributes made me excited to the point that my heart began to beat faster in anticipation. Does this mean I can learn earth and life attribute spells? Can Naturia help me in that regard? I asked, curious. I believe so, but as we've spoken about before, I also want you to learn to conjure your own spells. I've already seen the multiple spells you can do without the need for chants and other stuff, but I want to see if you can try out a conventional runic spell using magic circles, Mother said in response, adding a request at the very end. And which one would that be? I asked, slightly nervous. A simple one, here. As she told me that, my mother suddenly gave me a pot of dirt. Ha! The first spell that all nature attribute magicians learn is called Soil Enhancement. Using magic, you enhance the soil with both earth and life mana, enriching its nutrients. This soil will go to the farm in the backyard, Mother told me. Oh. I thought it was going to be something more awesome. In any case, Mother showed me the effects of the spell first. Soil Enhancement. Flash. In less than a second, a small green magic circle emerged around the pot, infusing it with green mana. In response, the pot trembled a bit and then, it receded. The magic circles had a lot of runes from what I could see. In fact, even the smallest of spells have at least a good dozen of runes that make up their effects. I looked at it with great intent. After a bit, the soil faintly sparkly with magical light before dimming down as if nothing happened in the first place. See. Now make it yourself. Once Mother was done showing me, she then told me this. Just trying to copy you? I asked. Yeah. You're a natural genius so it could work, Mother replied. Ha. Mother, I'm not a genius. I'm actually just a cheater. System, can I use mana usage to imitate Mother's spell? Oh. Yes, I believe it's possible. Though we have never done this before, the system replied. Let's just do our best. Fine. With that, I pointed my hands into the pot with soil, and then, I tried to replicate the magic circle using runes. To make runes, I had to think about the certain runic circuits. This spell had something like grow, soil, earth, enhance, and so on. Surprisingly, each rune had a word associated to it. But in short, making runic circuits was just conjuring several runes at once before combining them into a magic circle. Words are magic, in a way. By doing this, the magic circle suddenly emerged, and thanks to the mana usage skill, it was flowing correctly. It actually worked. To think I succeeded on my first hand at conventional magic. Flash. Chapter 58. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Surprising results. I conjured my first ever conventional magic spell as it enhanced the soil in the pot. Flash. Ha. However, I made a little mistake and simply continued pouring my endless mana into it. The result. The soil suddenly began to shine even brighter than ever, and soon, it started to multiply. Boom. Yugya. I fell on the ground as I saw that the pot had exploded due to my mistake. Now, there was a lot of dirt everywhere. Ha. How can I even multiply dirt? Wait, would that be earth magic? Did I just add earth magic into it? What happened? Muttered my mother in shock. I think I put a bit too much mana into the spell. Sorry, I apologized in response. I see. Perhaps you didn't notice, but your magic circle had a lot more soil runes on it. I think you accidentally activated the earth magic within your nature magic as you infused a lot of mana into the soil runes. Only earth magic can produce soil of this quality and quantity. Well, I can't really say you did a good job, but this is incredible, Mother told me. Ha! Let me do it again. I said, wanting to get a second chance. Alright, with that, my mother brought me another pot and then, I finally managed to do the spell right, with a lot of effort, of course. Surprisingly, it takes extra effort for someone with an endless stream of mana to know when enough is enough. I have to precisely cut the stream of mana infused into the magic circle before things get out of hand. Well, this day was quite an eventful day. I suppose you learned a lot from my lessons, plus you successfully cast your first conventional spell. Let's call it a day and eat some food with your daddy. There's boar meat stew for lunch, with baked bread and melted cheese on top, Mother said after I was successful, ending her class for the day. Oh. Cheese bread. Fu. Let's go. After that, Mother carried me in her arms as we made our way back to the kitchen. She then sat me down as she quickly began to cook at an incredible speed. She had left the stew preparing itself while we were doing the classes, and by the time we were done, it was close to being ready. The delicious smell of boar meat stew made my mouth water. Then again, she always added all sorts of tasty veggies and spices into it. Mother's cooking is amazing. There was also some bread baking in the oven, now that I notice. On the table, there were a lot of plates laid out, with a big piece of yellow cheese at the center that we make at home with the cows. Now that I think about it, I often go feed them nowadays. They often lick my face when I approach them. I might as well take a little piece. With that, I cut a small piece of cheese and stuffed it into my mouth. My mother, however, somehow noticed that. Sylphie, don't eat cheese before lunch. That she wasn't even looking. She clearly has eyes on her back. Sorry. I'm hungry. I apologized as I lightly sighed. But oh man, this cheese is so creamy and good. I think I can't stop my hands from grabbing some more. In any case, as the stew was close to being ready, Mother cut down slices of cheese before putting them over a small table with butter. After that, she left them in the oven for a few minutes. This way, these large and thick slices of cheese would become melted. Then, we can grab them and put them over toast or inside sandwiches. We don't eat this every day, but Father likes to eat cheese with bread a lot, so we ended up adopting this into our daily cuisine. I can't say we eat the healthiest, but everyone here has incredible metabolism, so all the grease we get from eating this is spent as energy in our daily lives. Father is always sweating a lot, spending a lot of energy in the farm and hunting in the forests. Mommy, can we have jam? I asked. Jam. For lunch. That's more for breakfast, isn't it? She asked. Ma. But I want sweets. I begged. Sylphie, don't act too spoiled. At least wait until dinner. I'll make apple pie, your favorite, she said in response. Ooh. Really? Of course. You worked hard and paid a lot of attention today, so my little baby needs a reward, Mother said with a smile on her face. Thank you, Mommy. I love you. Hee hee. I love you too, my dear little princess. My mother kissed my forehead as she smiled warmly at me. She's really the best. Sometime later, the door opened as my sweaty father entered. He was bare-chested as always. Ha! I'm done for today. I kind of want to relax and prepare for tomorrow's classes with Sylphie, he said. Fair enough, go take a quick shower then. You're a bit stinky, Mother told him. Elves and their keen smell. Father could not help but let out a sigh once he heard that. Father's abs are always a good sight to see every day. I'm quite lucky to have such a handsome father. Well, I didn't mean anything other than that. Admiring his chest is like admiring a piece of art, you know. There's nothing else to it. Let's put it this way. If you see a beautiful piece of art, you'd also admire it, right? As I stared, my father petted my head as he went to the bathroom before taking a quick shower. And it's done. My mother turned off the fire under the stew before opening the lid, revealing the delicious stew inside. She quickly began to serve a large portion for everyone as father came back and sat down while drying his beautiful red hair. Phew, that was refreshing. That smells nice. Oh. Do I smell a bit of buri seeds on it? My father asked. Indeed, it does have some, mother said as she nodded. Buri seeds? I asked. They're red colored seeds that are normally turned into powder. They taste slightly spicy, sour, and sweet at the same time. They go well with almost all types of stews and broths. It seems your mother finally got some delivered to her. To think I didn't even know that, father told me. Indeed. My older sister sent me some through her delivery artifact. Well, it took a lot of days to reach here, but it finally came alongside other items, mother said in response. Delivery. Artifact. I wondered. It's a special cube-shaped artifact in the attic that teleports items from a faraway area to here. Well, the longer the area, the longer it takes to arrive. It's a very expensive item, my father said. Ugh. Wait, maybe I could help them multiply those precious seeds. Chapter 59. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I want a puppy, are those seeds rare? I asked. Yeah, they're quite rare, father nodded as she replied. Can't I use my magic to make them grow here so you can harvest them? She asked. Ha. After I got the idea of using my agriculture skill and my farmer job to grow the buri seeds in their field for easier acquisition, my parents fell silent. Right, we didn't think about that, father said with a light chuckle. But what we got is powder. I almost forgot she also sent a few seeds. Maybe we could let you. I wonder if we can plant them. These seeds come from a plant named the buri tree that grows in the Atlantic continent where my family comes from, mother explained. Oh yeah. They grow in the hotter regions, so maybe they can't grow here. But then again, Sylphie's nature magic is insane. She can even grow an Eden apple into a full tree in just 4 years. I'm pretty sure she could do it, father told her. Well, I'll give you the seeds tomorrow. For now, let's enjoy the stew and the other food. Everything's ready, mother said in response. Yay! Hearing mother agree, I could not help but be happy. If I could get some new seeds to play around, maybe I could create more trees and bring forth even more tasty ingredients. I've barely used my agriculture skill as my parents told me it was dangerous and might provoke seeds to become monsters if I wasn't careful. But now that I'm being taught magic by mother, I'm pretty sure they'd let me have some more liberties. Well, to be honest, it would be nice if the plants became monsters. I could build up my dream army of tamed monsters. Plus, having a few plant companions doesn't sound bad. Mommy, can I get more seeds to play around with? If I can get more seeds, I could bring more trees and plants. I want to see if I can make a monster out of them and tame it. I suggested. Mother uttered in slight shock. Interesting. Sylph, do you want some monster companions? You know that it's a big responsibility to have pets, right? Even plant pets are no exception to this, father told me. But Sylph, you already have your little spirit with you, don't you? Do you really want more? Mother asked, seemingly feel a bit of a headache. The more the merrier, Mom. I want to just see how far my magic can go. I want to see what I can do more than just learning spells one by one. But it's not like I don't like your classes. I replied. I see. Well, it might be too dangerous for you. After all, your magic power and mana pool are quite enormous. A little mishap and things can get out of control very quickly. I don't want you to suddenly get killed by an army of plant monsters turning against you. Your powers require training because they're unstable. From how she phrased her words, it seems she wants me to change her mind. I guess she has a point. Come on, Phelan. It's only a few couple of seeds. Plus, we'll watch over her so nothing bad happens. Let the girl have her pets, father said, being on my side. Why can't she just have cat or a puppy instead? Mother asked. Oh. Can I? I wouldn't mind either. But I still want to see if I can make seeds into monster companions, I told her. I think we can get you a puppy. I heard Fenrir recently had some pups, father could not help but recall. Fenrir? I asked. Why are you even considering bringing such a dangerous creature here, Alan? Mother asked with a hint of anger. But it will be a puppy, father replied, thinking of his words as right. Can I have Fenrir's puppy? I asked. No, that creature is dangerous. Yeah, maybe we are friends with it, but a pup from such a being could easily kill you even if it's just playing around. Let's just go with the seeds, mother said, leaving no room for discussion. Fine, then, father said in response as he suddenly winked at me. Was this his plan? Wait a second, did he offer an even more dangerous pet so mother could see that the seeds weren't actually that dangerous, making her change her mind? This way, my mother saw the seeds idea as nothing compared to having Fenrir's puppy. Then again, I still want Fenrir's puppy. Thank you. I said in response. Now, eat up your lunch. The cheese will become hard if you don't eat it, mother nodded as she reminded me the food was getting cold. Okay. The delicious, melted cheese slice over the toast was incredibly tasty. It was warm and cheesy, plus the creaminess of melted cheese is just hard to be beaten by most things. The crunchy toast was also good. In fact, everything went well when I sipped a bit of the stew. The boar meat in there was incredibly tender and flavorful. Each bite of the meat melted in my little mouth. Despite being quite hot, I couldn't help but continue eating more and more, biting on the cheese toast over the stew and ate it like that. It was all so delicious. I also saw my father finishing his meal right away. Surprisingly, we finished almost at the same time. Can I get seconds? We asked at the same time, as my mother looked at us with smile, sighing. Sigh. You already ate everything. I'm barely halfway through. Alright. With that, mother quickly served us a second plate and gave us another slice of cheese toast. There was also a tasty and refreshing salad to go with it, which included fresh cabbage, delicious and juicy tomatoes, plus a special white sauce poured over it named mayonnaise made out of eggs and oil. With it being so delicious, I devoured everything. My second plate was gone in an instant. Surprisingly, father was also done. Can I get thirds? We asked once more. Slow down, mother could not help but say. After eating a third plate, she finally served us pie. The Eden apple pie my mother has been baking for us since I was born in this world. It was so tasty, sweet, warm, and buttery. The apple was tender. With cinnamon on top of it, it made for a wonderful combination. All in all, it was a very good meal. Chapter 60. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The God blessing skills. This morning, mother had yet to give me the seeds. She said she wanted a whole week to pass before then because she wanted to teach me more nature magic so I could have a better understanding of it, or at least a bit more than what I already know. But today, I decided to practice my new skills which I had gotten from the God's blessings, the blessings the system absorbed and repurposed. The first two abilities were passive, so I couldn't do much with them. However, I knew that Hero Seed gave me the ability to have more charisma when talking with people. My words become more believable, and I have an easier time dealing with people. I guess they want me to be like the charismatic hero archetype, I suppose. On top of that, it also has the power to enhance my companions' power and slowly make them into hero companions, those that I make strong bonds with. I think they might be able to grow faster due to this, as well as develop new abilities and magic. Then again, as of now, there's no candidate. Aquarina herself is a hero, so I don't think it will affect her. Maybe that boy Zach. Now that I think about it, I haven't met him in a while. Oh well, I did interact with him for almost 3 years, so I don't consider him as less of a friend than Aquarina. Though his attitude most of the time only makes me angry than anything else. Perhaps he'll get the boost. I guess he will. Unless he also becomes a hero. Yeah, I doubt it. I don't really see anything special in him that might make me think otherwise. Maybe Naturia. I don't know if it affects spirits, but I really hope so. The system perhaps. That's a bit of a mystery. How about Ignatius? I've bonded with him throughout the years, but he's still annoyingly stubborn, so I don't think so. My parents. They're already heroes, so I don't think it affects them. After all, they probably already have the hero seed on them. The second passive ability I got was Divine Protection. It has the great effect of protecting me from a lethal attack to my soul or body once a day. In other words, that means I could probably fall off a cliff and survive instead of becoming some sort of minced meat surprise. Well, it's certainly useful, but ideally, I really wouldn't like to ever get into an encounter that could endanger my life to the point that I would need this ability to trigger. Anyways, there's also Heavenly Sight, the active ability. This one has 3 small abilities within itself. The power to see from far away, the ability to inspect information regarding objects, and the ability to see a few seconds into the future. I've been practicing and using each one since I got them. Well, even though they didn't seem to help out in a fight, I found them very interesting. The ability to see far away is useful. It could help me scout large areas in front of me with ease. By looking from the window, I can see the snow on top of the mountains nearby, and also see creatures lurking around. The other day I inspected the forest and saw a group of wolves hunting a large lizard-like creature. Through this, I can see several kilometers in incredible detail, as if I were a hawk. After that, there's the ability to inspect objects. It can also inspect living beings, but the info it gives is very vague compared to what I could get from objects. It could be said this is similar to the powerful appraisal spell my parents use sometimes, which helps them see information and quality on an object. I used it in my pendant for example, and I got this. Red Dragon Fiery Heart Core Pendant, Tier 9, Equipment. Accessory Element Affinity. Fire Ability. Fire Dragon Heart, Fire Dragon Soul, Greater Fire Enhancement, Greater Fire Affinity, Greater Fire Manipulation, Soul Bond Enhancement. Increases damage dealt by fire magic and doubles mana regeneration. A pendant crafted by a talented alchemist and crafter. It is made from the powerful magic crystal of a red dragon. It contains part of its fiery soul, which brings a powerful enhancement to the user's abilities related to fire. It is bonded to the wearer's soul and can only have one owner in its lifetime. Like this. It looks quite good, and every important item I inspect will show me some info like this inside my head. It was a bit overwhelming at first, but now that I've gotten used to the streams of information entering my head, it's a very useful ability. I wish I could get an accessory like this, but for nature magic this time. Oh, I also recently got my ears pierced. With that, I finally got around to wearing the earrings that Aquarina gifted me back then. But since that first birthday, I've only gotten clothes gifted to me rather than any magic accessory or weapon. Then again, the clothes themselves are said to be made by magic tailors and are enhanced with magic power. Even this little dress I'm wearing right now seems to bring a major enhancement to my defense and agility. And the earrings. Well, they enhance water magic, but I haven't even tried using water magic yet. It doesn't come out naturally like fire or nature magic, so I must first study its runes and magic circles. Apparently, it has a piece of the soul of Leviathan in it, but unlike Ignatius, a bubble containing it hasn't appeared inside my soul, so perhaps I need to meet some special requirements first. Though, it would be cool to contract Leviathan and make it my water-type familiar. But perhaps Aquarina got him. Or maybe this soul bubble inside my soul containing Ignatius is just a unique thing due to the system's ability to absorb souls. After all, I saw how Ignatius was defeated and that EXP he gave to me was part of his soul. With his pendant, I got the other part, and the two combined generated this phenomenon where he appeared here. I don't know if I could emulate it with Leviathan, since I haven't really gotten his EXP. Maybe if I could get an accessory made out of Beelzebub or his thugs, I could get a nasty fly as my familiar. I should probably ask my parents about that.